Introduction. Okay, let me take this opportunity to thank all our viewers, especially our subscribers on KDR TV, our news channel, and followers on Facebook and Twitter, and those who are regular readers of our online newspaper, www.kdrtv.com. If you have not subscribed, please do right now by clicking the link below to ensure that you are not left behind. KDR TV is an international station with an international repute in Europe, US, and Middle East, and also in Africa. It's our responsibility, not only patriotic Kenyans, not only as patriotic Kenyans, but our civic duty to educate and inform our viewers on matters politics, health, and education, not forgetting their freedom and access to justice as enshrined in the Kenyan Constitution. We are giving our viewers an opportunity to give us suggestions and critique so that we can improve our programs, because this is a journey we are traveling together. If you have a question for Professor Sam Ongeri, who is our chief guest today, he'll definitely answer it. Thank you very much. Pull your chair, listen and watch as Senator Professor Ongeri is live on KDR TV News. Professor Ongeri, once more, how are you doing?
I'm doing extremely well.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Looking forward to an interactive session.
I appreciate that, Professor. So, our number one question. Professor Ongeri, you were part of the team that negotiated for the return of normalcy in the 2007 disputed general election. What's your expectations on the forthcoming general election? Are you seeing any improvement in preparation by the IEBC compared to the previous elections based on contested results, some which saw thousands of Kenyans killed and others displaced in their own country?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for that question. You remember the Serena peace talks was as a result of contested elections in 2007, and the genesis of that conflict was on the basis that there was so much poison poured out to the electorate from both sides, and for those who are contesting the results, and as a result, it was chaos and mayhem. And therefore we congregated ourselves in Sagarena for talks with the late Prof, who was the Secretary General of the former Secretary General of the United Nations in New York. And the result of those talks, let me just give you a brief preview of what happened. When we started the talks, it was very tense. I was on the side of President Kibaki, and the other team was on the side of now the right one of the Prime Minister Abanyaribari. We were hardly talking to one another, but eventually we realized that the entire Kenyan nation and the whole international community was looking at us to provide a way forward and a solution for the settlement of that debate. Eventually, after the first and second day, we were able to open up and talk to one another, and the dialogue with one another. Eventually we reached the peace accord. And you remember this was the peace accord, which was a prelude and forerunner for the devolution, the 2010 constitution, and which had a main anchor of devolution. And that's why devolution remains a major aspect of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, because it's a disbursement of power. It was realized at that time that the concentration of power at the center was detrimental to many people who wanted to participate in the democratic process of the nation. Therefore, they felt denied that opportunity and that responsibility. And therefore, one of the areas we wanted to diffuse the political tensions is to be able to create other structures below that will enable them to participate in the political process to their satisfaction. And that's the genesis of the Serena talks, and I thank God that we successfully concluded the talks, and Kenya came back to the normal road to normalcy. Now, you asked me a question. What do you think of the current situation? I think we've got to be extremely careful as a nation, because the kind of rhetorics that are coming through are not encouraging. And one of the things that we now need to do is to do a thorough civic education. What must happen before and after the election? To prepare the people to know what to do before the elections, what must happen after the elections. Obviously, my line of action and my line of the line of what I stand for is any engagement must be a peaceful way. We must seek peace and pursue it. In our conduct, in our daily persuasion of voters to vote for either this group or the other group, we must always ensure that our pronouncements are peaceful pronouncements, not the warlike pronouncements that create tension. And it is tension that leads to a fracas. That fracas can become easily uncontrollable.
Thank you very much, Professor. In your opinion, what do you think needs to be improved in our electoral process? Professor, did you get me? The second question, Professor, is in your own opinion, what do you think needs to be improved in our electoral process?
Yeah, I did hear you. You were cutting out. So,
okay, let me repeat the question. In your own opinion, what do you think needs to be improved in our electoral process? We're having a technical issue there, but we hope Professor Ongeri gets it. Yes. From your side, Professor?
Yes. I'm saying
yes.
The most important process that must be looked at and must be considered is the primary for the parties. It's a critical phase. It's only yesterday, on 26th of March, that we concluded of all the candidates who must belong to a party list or to a party register by the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. That exercise ended yesterday. I believe in the next 10 days, they will be doing the audit to ensure that the people who have been registered in various political parties who are going to take part in the exercise of the elections on August 9, 2022 are properly done and rolled out for their primaries. It is during these primaries that normally when the parties do not do effective and proper primaries, or for those to be able to nominate or pick out a candidate for any given party, it's when the fracas starts and the fallout begins. And it's important that this exercise is done through, because now it's a mandate of the political parties, office of the political parties, to ensure that this is done in a coherent manner, in a transparent manner, and in a manner which is acceptable to the majority of the party membership, depending on which party you belong to. That's when problems start coming up. The second phase is the IBC phase, when the nomination process starts. And that when they do the nomination, it must be ensured that the people who have been presented by various parties for nomination in various positions are candidates who are duly qualified and are in fact expected to be in the ballot box, rightfully so. If there is any mishap and there is some missing links either in their qualifications or missing links in their character or missing links in any other elements, that may be the beginning of maybe the genesis of the problems that we may face in the 2022 9th August elections. So those therefore requires civic education by all the parties involved, including the IEBC, whose chief mandate is to be able to educate the public and the candidates on what is required of them before we enter into the August elections 2022. That mandate must be carried out on a timely basis. That mandate must be carried out effectively, which means then they must prepare the trainers who will be able to carry out this responsibility. If the preparation is careless, and if the preparation is not up to standard, then that might be one of the elements that may provoke people into disagreeing with the process of IBC. And any doubt cast on the IBC is going to be catastrophic for the proper conduct of the elections this year. And therefore, the IBC has a major responsibility of picking out those who are going to be educators, civic education educators, to educate both the voters on their role, the expectation, and their role that is going to be carried out. The third element that must be considered is the question of who are going to man the polling stations. Are they properly trained? Are they properly conversant with the kit, the kit that they are going to use in the voting process? Because if that's not done, then that's again another element, another level where crises develop, and that's why you see that when they did talk about the digital transmission of results, and they are poorly done, and there is a discrepancy that may develop, that people get discontented and therefore start creating problems at the polling stations and also at the tallying centers. It's important, therefore, the conduct of the elections at the polling stations, the results transmission, and the results exhibition is critical in the entire process. These are the processes that must be gone into now more meticulously, so that we are not left to chance to any guess about the outcome of these results. So transparency and accountability then becomes the tool that must be adopted by the IEBC in order to bring out credible elections.
Professor, thank you very much, Professor. The number 3 question, Professor Ongeri, why are you running to become the governor of Kisii County? And what drove you to make this particular huge decision?
Yes, I don't know whether you can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Very simple and clear. This is Sam Ongeri is one person who has had immense experience. Whether you talk about the experience in the university, as a university don, I've been a professor, I've trained many people, I've done postgraduate training, undergraduate training, and therefore I've had enormous experience in terms of education and the deliverables that must come out of education. That's one enormous experience I've had. Professor Ongeri has also been a chairman of Kenya Athletics Association for many years. I'm the one who was responsible for bringing out some of our top performers. Unfortunately, that includes some of the late people like Robert Ouko and Charles Asati and Naftali Temu. These were my products and many other Kenyans who performed extremely well in the athletics world and therefore succeeded and became, in fact, one of the top administrators in athletics in the International Amateur Athletic Federation, to an extent that I even got the veterans pin on the medical commission in the IAAF. Professor Ongeri also is one credited for having started the Chuakali sector. The minister, I think we've lost out the link. I'm credited for having started out. I've served as a politician for many years, 15 years as a minister in the Kenya government, And thereafter, in between, as an ambassador for 10 years, during the ambassadorial position, I'm the one who set up the conventions. I negotiated several conventions in environment, climate change convention, biodiversity convention, the desertification convention, conventions. Professor Ongeri.
Yes, go ahead.
Also, during the tenure as an ambassador for the United Nations Environment Program, I was also the university, the chairman of the University Council of Nairobi. During that period of time, 1992 to 1997, I was able to start the parallel degrees, which I think some of you are now beneficiaries of the parallel degrees that I started in those years. So I created a pool of manpower and human resources that is unparalleled. And I'm proud that I was able to do that during my public assignments, both as an ambassador, both. I'm the one. Are we still on the link?
Low, but let's continue. Your network is a little bit low, but let's continue. Yes, Professor.
So all the vocational technical training institutions were part of that. And therefore, having served both at the national, at the international level, it's now time to plow back that enormous rich experience for the benefit of Kisii County. And I think I'll feel very disappointed if I do not plow back this rich experience so they can benefit the local communities and be able to elevate them to the levels where I've been able to elevate them to very high standards. That's one of the reasons why I'm gunning for the position as a governor, Kisii County. Don't forget that in my previous assignments, not only did I do the technical training and applied technology to Akali sector, I was also a minister for local government, which was able to provide the local political incentives for people. I'm the one who set up the urban centers, which now are being used by the devolution system as urban centers and municipalities, because these are areas of growth. I'm the one who set up the various activities in the local authorities on how governance at the local level. That time there were wards. Now we now have actually the wards which have been captured in the devolution constitution of 2010. And therefore, I have a rich experience on local government and the devolution as it stands today. And therefore, the Kisii County will benefit from that immense experience. I also was the Minister for Health, and I started many projects, and since health is a fully devolved function, I'm the one who's program by the Japanese government and negotiated that credit, which was later on carried out when I existed in 2002. PS who did a good job. That was my program. All centers.
A little bit repeat some of your last statement, because we did get them, because you're having a network issue there.
Minister for Health. I'm the one who started the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital grant that was given by the Japanese government up to the tune of 1.3 billion. It has since then expanded much higher. I also started the peripheral systems health centers like Nyamachi Health Center, with now KMTC, Kenya Medical Training Centers, Kenyanya Health Centers, Wego Health Centers, Marambe Health Centers, Marani Health Centers, Ekerenya Health Centers, Nyamira, Manga Health Centers, Karoke Health Centers, and Keumbu. These are the things that I started. Since health is a devolved function, I'll cut on from where I left and be able to create, because I believe health is one of the fundamental services that must be offered to the citizens of any county, in this case, Kisii County. Therefore, I have the know-how and withal that is required to be able to carry out the development of these sectors so that it becomes beneficial to the populations of Kisii. If you gave it to a starter today, somebody who has no clue, or somebody who is going to learn on the job, it's going to be very expensive for the county when they would have benefited from this immense and rich experience that I have in the health sector. I was also the minister for education. Now, I set up a lot of infrastructure development in our schools, both primary schools and health and secondary schools. I created the level of education to a level where we became one of the best performing schools in Kisii, in the national grid. And therefore, I believe with that information, with the ECD being under the devolution program, under the county programs, I should be able to set up a platform where education becomes a pillar for development and a pillar for future leadership positions of our youth, our boys and girls who will be going through these institutions, so they have a rich experience in education. And as a Minister for Foreign Affairs, I created bridges in our society between Kenya and the international community, and I would like to plow back this experience. I created friends and positions that we can tap on to be able to support from donor funding and from donor countries to support the county in this development agenda. So, putting all these things together, I think I would like to spend my days in bequeathing this rich experience and rich retinue of things that I've done to Kisii County, and they'll be richer. I'll be poorer, but they'll be richer.
Hope you don't get poor. You don't become a pauper. Yeah? Thank you very much, Professor Ongeri. We've got so many questions, and you've a lot of explanations with unparalleled experience, which is perfectly okay. But now, if elected governor for Kisii County, what will be your assignment, or will be your agenda in the first 90 days of your government?
One of the most disturbing elements in Kenya and in county government is the unemployment of youth. So one of the first things that I will do is to set up the agenda for the youth. To reorganize the youth agenda in development, to reorganize the bodaboda sector to a formidable circle, both as a saving circle and as a circle when they can increase the opportunities to do business in a friendly environment. And therefore, it's one area that I intend to engage people and engage the bodaboda people. These are people who are looking for a livelihood, a decent livelihood. They should not be considered as people who are just hanging there just for the sake of trying to eke a living on a day-to-day basis. I want them to see it as an industry that can flourish to a huge resource center where we can access them credits so that they are able to do their day-to-day work with respect and dignity. And therefore, I intend to bring dignity to this sector, just like I brought dignity to the Juasakali sector. Because today, people are not ashamed of saying, I'm a Jakali operator, because I brought dignity. When people have skills, when you have border sector with the skills and proper investment, they can be able to grow into a huge circle, and they can contribute to the enlargement of the gross domestic product of the county. And therefore, that's one area I intend to engage myself in and be able to see that there's order and there's systems in that system. The other sector that I want to do is looking at the market centers, to be able to create centers that are lively, that are doing trading, which is acceptable. Most of our mothers, our ladies, they do businesses. They are the home earner, the bread earners for their families, and they need to have decent earnings within the market centers where the stores are properly done, within an environment, access again to credit. That's an area I want to bring into order so that people can do business. And I intend to create not only the local markets, but within other counties, the contiguous markets within the neighborhood counties. It's my intention to create a Kisii market, for instance, Rajambiri, to be an international market, because not only does it sell items from Kisii County, but now we see counties from all over Kenya coming to the Rajambiri market, getting their wares. So I intend to modernize that market and make it a really true reflective market. It will require a lot of investments. That might be another area where I might invite the diaspora, people with the resource that can be able to invest in that kind of market, so that our goods that are produced locally can be able to find their way to the international, the Kenyan market, and also the national market through that market when it's properly done and properly organized. There's no reason why it cannot be another stock exchange like London Stock Exchange or New York Stock Exchange for agricultural commodities. So we can create a stock exchange of agricultural commodities in the Kisii, the Rajambiri market, and therefore make it a truly reflective international market where Kenyans and Kisii people will earn their sweat in a proper and respectable manner, and cutting out the middlemen who are normally able to take away the cream of the profit, and the poor farmers left languishing with his poverty or her poverty. So that's another area I intend to do. Second area I intend to embark on is the provision of health services which are close to the people. One of the biggest headaches today, and you can see it from your friends, from your family members, is the medical expense. It's become so disturbing. The medical expense is something we need to bring closer to the people. Level 1 hospital, level 2, level 3, they must be properly equipped. They must have facilities. They must have proper staff. They must be able to do what we call prevention, to promote the preventive and promotive health services. And when you do so, you prevent the development of other diseases that become very expensive to treat in the medical centers, in advanced medical centers. And the medical bills become very unacceptable. And many people become poorer because of these medical bills. So it's my intention that I'll bring the services closer to the people. Alongside with the health services, I'll create the water systems, provision of water, availability of water within water kiosks, within reach of the family. Because without sanitation, the health bill becomes very expensive. The health costs become very high. And therefore it's my intention that water provision will be one of my priorities to ensure that we are both available, clean and plenty of water, both to the urban centers and also to where the growth is going to be. The other area that I intend to embark on is to leverage on my experience in vocational and technical training as a Minister for Technical Training and Applied Technology. I created the skills development programs in all these centers. I'm ready to replicate all these centers in the Kisii County so that the Kisii County can be able to be a premier county in technology. And with that information and with that technology, I should be able now to create a peculiar ward technology for every ward. There are 45 wards in Kisii. And I intend to create a particular skill, a particular expertise in skills in any given ward, so that they can also, we can get people investing not only in skills development and in skills management, but we can also get them to do what we call outsourcing production through the ward level. In other words, I intend to create incubation centers, technology incubation centers in all the 45 wards with specific skills, with specific expertise. And that's another area where I will invite the diaspora to do proper investments, because they will have a double advantage. One, they will promote the local entrepreneurship positions, those levels at the ward level. And secondly, it becomes a source of outsourcing by international firms, because we have now developed adequate skills which are equivalent to international standards, and therefore the international company is able to create those, to get the outsourcing programs done through the skills in technology and ICT. Alongside with that, I intend to create industrial promotion centers. These will be centers where there will be micro enterprises, small scale enterprises productions, where again, it will be a pool of technologies being put in a particular given centers, where we'll invite both the local and international investors to invest in these industries. And the products that are accruing out of those products will be for exports, will also be for domestic and national, the Kenya national sales, and within counties within the African continent. So I have a plethora, if you may say, of opportunities that will be offered. And mark you, these are all tailored towards young people who have gone to school, who have acquired skills, but they have nowhere to go. You must create those situations for them to thrive. That's the only way you can thrive. And once you get the economy of Kisii thriving, the Kenyan economy will equally thrive. And therefore the Kenyan GDP will be in the double digits, the one we've been talking about.
Let me take you a little bit back. You actually having these great ideas, but most of the time, politicians speak a lot. They really promise a lot, but they don't deliver. You've given us a perspective on how you've actually done in the past in ensuring this one is achieved. But one question I'm begging to ask: how are you going to manage to have better healthcare or quality healthcare to the Kisii residents, which are really suffering up to date? If you go to our public hospitals, they are having very many challenges. So which criteria or which methodology are you going to use to ensure these people get proper healthcare?
Well, one of the things that I will do as a governor, it starts at the budgeting process. How much money are you putting in the health sector? Because once you identify one of your greatest consumer in your resources, then you must do something innovative to be able not only to reduce the cost that area, but also do innovations that will be able to be beneficial to the populations of that county. And one of the things I've realized is that if you do not have an adequate resource supply to those health centers, like the drugs, like the staff, like the education that happens at the dispensary level, education like nutrition. If you teach people simple nutrition, you will be able to prevent so many diseases that will land people into a dispensary requiring drugs. If you teach people on simple sanitation and health care, it will reduce the number of people attending the dispensary or a health clinic or a hospital, and therefore they will be able to be healthy and they will be able to do it. Those who happen to develop a disease, then you must equip those health centers, those dispensaries with the relevant equipment, relevant drugs, with the relevant essential kids drugs that are easily available, and the relevant people who are qualified to attend to them. And unless you do all those things, you'll just be doing a futile exercise. This is not something I'm going to experiment. I've done it as a doctor. I've done it as a medic. I've done it as a minister for health. I made those provisions. And therefore, it's not something I'm going to experiment. It's something I'm going to roll out in my budgeting process, alongside with the conditional grants that come from the national government, alongside with the grants that we may attract from the donor community and from the relevant communities, alongside the resources that have been borrowed by the national government and are being shared to the county governments, the 47 county governments. I should be able to leverage on this resource envelope and be able to do a perfect job. And the universal health care, don't forget, as the Minister for Health, I'm the one who started it. There were 13 steps we had to go through. I only managed 3 steps before I got out, and then the program has now stalled until now. This program is being rolled out by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. And all these steps, I'm in the Health Committee of Senate, where the people who have been able to develop the modalities and the way it's going to be rolled out. And again, next month, we're going to go to Rwanda to do a benchmarking, see how they also rolled out the universal health care, and we'll be able to domesticate it in Kenya. And therefore, as a governor in Kisii, not only will I be talking from experience, but I'll also be talking from information on how to roll out universal health care, not only to the Kisii County, but also to the peripheral dispensaries and rural setting.
Thank you very much, Professor. I know you'll have so many sessions, God willing, on KDR TV, as you are slated to become a governor of Kisii County before August this year. So we'll be giving you an opportunity to express more of your aspirations or more of your plans on how you want to improve Kisii County. But because of the time today, we'll a little bit shorten it so that we can get most of the questions answered. So, Professor, what about the deplorable road network in Kenya? I mean, not in Kenya, but in Kisii. How are you planning to ensure you improve the road network in Kisii?
There are 3 ways road networks can be improved. First of all, the money that is allocated the government, I will make sure that I put enough money in the county government for road network, because I know there are those roads that must be done by the county government of Kisii. Therefore, I'll put enough resource, enough money, enough budget into the road network. There are also those roads that are being done by in the urban centers by Kenya Urban Road Network. I'll be able then to, again, that's an additional resource envelope for the urban centers, but for rural areas, the Kenya Rural Urban Development of Roads. There's also there is also another body. The name has just gone off. I'll remember it shortly. That there are 3 elements from the national government, the county governments, and from the Ministry of Devolution. We also have resources coming there, Kenya Devolution Support Program. And pulling those resources together, I should be able to put a robust road network in the county to service the agricultural sector, to service the health sector, to service the trade sector, to service the transport sector, and various other sectors.
My other question is, corruption and nepotism has been mentioned by different stakeholders in Kisii County or in Kenya, specifically saying that Kisii County the Kisii County government is corrupt. So what measures are you going to take to ensure that corruption, nepotism is not rampant when you take over as the governor of Kisii County?
Yes, I think one of the things that I will do is to have zero tolerance for corruption. That's fundamental to me. Number two, nepotism is not in my language. I believe in equity. I believe in fairness. I believe in sharing of opportunities to the population, both the majority population and the minority population that reside in the county. And therefore, when I take over, by God's grace, nepotism will be a matter of the past, corruption will not be tolerated, and therefore either you do the right thing or you ship out.
And if they are very close to you, they are your relatives or somebody or some people you know pretty well, will you just show them the door?
I mean, it's as simple as that. It speaks volume.
Thank you very much, Professor. Okay, let's now go to agriculture. Go ahead. You had a point. Go ahead.
Yes, I just say corruption has not been part of myself all the years I've served in public life. So I don't intend to import anything I've not done to Kisii County.
Okay. Thank you. Let's now go to agriculture, Professor. Let's now go to agriculture. Yes. A lot of food, especially perishable products or food products, goes to waste after harvest. What are you going to do to assist farmers, ensure that they don't get losses after harvesting?
You know, this is an area, Ben, which has occupied my mind for quite some time, even when I'm in the Senate and I've been in the national government. Our farmers are getting a very poor return for whatever they're struggling to grow and produce. One of my major responsibilities is to create cold storage facilities in various market centers. Why do I do so? I've already done one in Mama, which is, we've done it with the national government, which is now approaching completion. The idea being that all the bananas, all the avocados, all the various vegetables, local vegetables, will be collected from the farm, they'll be sorted out, they'll be graded, and then all I need to do is create a very powerful marketing structure where those will be graded, will be sold to the domestic market, and those for exports. And that requires a chain reaction. That's the only way I will guarantee a farmer a respectable price for their perishable goods. That's one aspect. When you sell them, we must create storage facilities for them all over the county. Number two, we'll be able to do what we call value addition for these products. Creating value addition, like in the case of bananas, we should be able to set up some industries. There's one which has been set up by Governor Ongwae, which is now being implemented. But we need to replicate this to various parts of of the county so that we're able to get the full potential of the kind of value addition we can add to the banana industry. By now, we all know we can get about 7 products out of just the bananas. And Kisii is a home of bananas. And I see no reason why a farmer cannot benefit from this value addition. Avocados. We are the major producer of avocados. And pitifully enough, farmers suffer a great deal because they throw away the avocados at 1 shilling, 50 cents sometimes, and they are left rotting at the market centers. And it's a very painful experience for anybody going through the market centers when he sees this kind of arrangement. So my business would be, as I said earlier on, we have cold storages in place. Avocados will be brought there, and we invest in cold storages in various centers in our county. We'll grade them for both domestic use, for the Kenyan domestic market, and for exports. Farmer will be a beneficiary for those products. And there are many other products like the chinsaga, the managus. These vegetables, these are peculiar indigenous vegetables that we need to preserve. We need to create the identity and get the farmer, get value for money for what they are growing in the farm. And I think that's an area that I intend to invest heavily. And this not only will create job employment for our youth and the farmers and the mothers and the fathers who are at home, but they will also earn decent incomes. They don't have to wait for handouts from anybody. It is this handout business we must be able to discourage completely so that people can be self-sustaining, people can create wealth. It's when a county is able to create wealth that it can be a proud county. That's when you can talk of development, tangible development, which would have been achieved by the county government. Minus that, we'll be wasting time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor. Let's go a little bit fast again. Let's again discuss. Go further and ask you how you are planning to help farmers who are still practicing outdated farming techniques. What will your government do to improve farmers on production?
Well, I think smart agriculture is the in Kenya. And therefore, we'll have to bring in new technologies. The extension agricultural workers will be properly retrained. We have the agricultural training centers in Kisii. I will properly retrain them in skill acquisition so that whatever production is going to be carried out will be carried out a cost-effective production where the provision of fertilizers, provision of it may require many irrigation schemes. That's why I remember I told you earlier on, one of my top priorities will be water, provision of water. Some of our farmers are smallholders. We no longer have large farms. We just have small holding farms in our Kisii County, and we must be able to maximize on these smallholder farm titles by increasing the level of productivity which is scientific, not this pedestrian farming. So therefore, I am a farmer myself, and for instance, you can introduce zero grazing in a home. Somebody can have about 3, 4, 5 cows by doing zero grazing, and whatever little land he has, encourage them to grow the feeder, food for their cows. And if you have zero grazing, and your cow is producing about 3, 4 cows, they are producing about 20 liters per cow. That's about 60 liters. And today the 60 liters per cow is about 40 to 50 shillings. That's about 3,000 shillings per day. And in a month it's about 90,000 shillings. That's a tremendous earning. So it's a question of teaching the farmer how to grow small and grow big. Now, who gets 90,000 shillings income in a month in our households? Not many people. What about even 10,000 shillings a month? Who gets that? But you are able to increase the potential of that farmer to get that level. Now, if you do simple irrigation for some vegetables, which again you can add value, you can be able to get a much more better earning than what they are earning today. So you cut out the wastages, storage, I told you, because of the perishable nature of the goods. If you have perishable goods, they come into a storage, they put their storage there, they put in the storage, cold storage system, they get a token, and when these things are sold, they get their money like you're doing with tea. You take your tea to a tea factory, you get your kilos. At the end of the month, the tea is processed, you sold at the auction market, and they get their prices, they get their payments at the end of the month. That's the process that we want to replicate with some of these other commodities, agricultural commodities. First of all, improve the techniques for growing those items, enhance the capacity to grow double or treble what they are already growing at the moment, and then improve the storage facilities and the marketing strategy. This is a chain reaction. Without creating that chain, you'll be wasting your time as a governor or as a leader in agriculture. I intend now to sharpen these tools so that they are beneficial to the farmer, not just on the paperwork, but they are beneficial to the farmer.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much. Now we want you to relax a little bit, like 1 minute or so. You can actually sip some water as we get an advert. So don't go far, just stay put, and then we'll continue from there.
Thank you.
Yeah, let my director bring part of our sponsors on board right now. Let's have some adverts.
Hey, my name is Vincent Mdenyo Okwisia. There is this new app on your phone. It is called Farmers Network app. Let's have a look. Here on the main page, you can register as a service provider or a partner. Very easy. Here on the service providers page, you can get so many services. Transportation, aggregation, packaging, retailing, agronomy, veterinary, digital marketing, banking, business consultant. On the enterprise page, you can track your budget, production, cash flow, and inventory so that you are always up to date on the progress of your business. On the resources page, you can find different resources such as spraying programs, conventions, training books and articles, guides, and other resources on the best practices. On the reviews page, farmers can review and rate other partners and service providers so that other farmers and partners can make the best choices. On the groups and forums page, you will find different forums discussing important issues such as how certain farming activities are doing in your area and many other important issues. On the weather page, you can find weather forecast so that you can make better plans in running your farm. What's more, you can also get rewards and redeem them for products such as fertilizers, seedlings, and many more. Let me go and pick my fertilizer. Bye-bye. Download the Farmers Network app today on Google Play Store or Apple App Store.
Thank you very much. We are having Professor Sam Ongeri online and on air. We are continuing with a discussion on his gubernatorial aspiration or candidacy for Kisii County. So, Professor Sam Ongeri, we've got another question for you here. You recently decamped from ODM to DAP Kenya Party. Did you sense defeat in ODM nomination, which necessitated you to decamp, as some of your competitors have claimed?
First of all, I don't know, the link is not coming through.
You're good. Professor Sam Ongeri, you are good. Don't worry, you are good. You are good. You are good. Go ahead. I can see you from this end. You are good.
Decamping from one party to another is a normal process. That's a democratic process. And even if you look at the nature of politics, even Azimio is also decamping from the original NASA to Azimio, or the original Jubilee to Azimio. So that decamping is a normal process. And therefore, and defeat is not in my vocabulary. And it can never be in my vocabulary. So let's not look at the Constitution.
Yes.
And it's in our act that you can move from one party. That's why we're given a choice by the. That's why we're given a choice by the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. The deadline was yesterday. People had a chance to change from one party to another. That's a democratic process. That's in our Constitution of 2010. That's number one. Number two, one of the other reasons why I decided to be in DAP Kenya, Democratic Action Party of Kenya, is that I'm a man of peace. Having broken peace in Serena 2007, 2009, it's a testament in itself that I like peace, I follow peace, and I don't like any level of bullying that is being exhibited by some of the candidates. And therefore, one way in restoring our culture is to be able to teach people and educate people that the way to go and the way to look for your votes is through a peaceful means and not through any other means. And that's why I decided to be able to go and teach people that we have very rich culture, the culture of respect for ages and groups of people. When you get people coming howling abuses and creating disturbances in various gatherings, that's not my cup of tea. My cup of tea is to teach people how to live in harmony, how to live together, how to differ. You may be in different places, but you differ respectively, without any acrimony of any nature. And therefore, this may be a teaching lesson, a teaching curve for some of new entrants into politics, that you don't have to be very aggressive and abusive, and you don't have to create goonism to be able to stand for a particular position. And I hope that people have learned lessons by this experience, so that's part of the learning experience I'm giving to the young people as they grow up, to know that you can decently, like advanced democracies, they present their manifesto, they present their credentials, like I'm doing now, and let the people judge who is the better performer out of this presentation of their credentials. And I believe that we're going to have a useful and a gainful engagement with my other competitors, and my appeal to them is that let's debate, let's put out the agenda, what you can do for the Kisii County government, Kisii people. Let's debate on what is achievable and how you intend to achieve it. Let's not spend our energies, negative energy, on negative issues. I intend to spend my energy on a positive way and in a manner which builds rather than destroys. That's one of the reasons why I decamped.
Thank you very much, Professor, for that answer. And one question we've got from one of our viewers is asking about hooliganism. Have you been in any event whereby you found some people disturbing your meetings or hurling insults and all that? That is a question from one of our viewers from Texas.
Please, can you repeat it?
I'm saying, have you attended meetings whereby you've witnessed hooliganism experience, and what is your response to hooliganism, and especially to the elderly people like you?
Well, any hooliganism is unacceptable in any advanced democracy. And we believe in, that's why there are laws to govern what must happen in any election. That there must be peaceful coexistence. It is this hooliganism that took us to Serena. It is this hooliganism which has brought countries down to their bended knees. And therefore, any hooliganism has no place in any advanced democracy. And I detest any hooliganism. I believe in a coherence, even when we differ sharply on matters of opinion. We must live together. We must argue our case together. We must speak together, and let the people be the final arbiter of our debate.
Thank you very much, Professor. Is Gusii Nation ready? Gusii as a nation, we are talking about Nyamira and Kisii. Is it ready for a Raila presidency? And how do you think they are going to benefit from his presidency? Professor, did you get the question?
I didn't hear. I've not heard that question, please.
Okay, let me repeat the question. Is Gusii Nation ready? Is Gusii Nation ready for a Raila presidency? And what do you think they are going to benefit because you are supporting Raila Odinga in your campaigns?
I didn't hear that question, Ben.
Okay, you didn't hear that. Okay, let my technical part ensure that my audio is on. Okay, are you hearing me now?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, is Gusii Nation in general ready for a Raila presidency? And how do you think they are going to benefit from Raila's presidency? Because you are is your candidate. I mean, you're supporting him. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm supporting fully the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga to be the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. This one man who has offered himself to this nation in several occasions. He has been a Democrat. He has fought for the space, for political space in this country. He's one man who has stood the test of time. He is corrupt-free. He's one man who has principles. He's one man who can create cohesion in this nation. He's one man who is not a tribalist. He's one man who is a patriot. He's one man who can engage other tribes to come together and form a nation called Kenya. And that's why this Azimio ya Umoja is not out of nothingness. Azimio ya Umoja is putting the Kenyan nation together. People can reason together. This is why the prelude to this Azimio ya Umoja was a handshake. The handshake is that we forget about the past, we bury the past, and we look to the future. And this is beneficial to the future generations, the current and the future generations. Therefore, I support him in that candidature as the President of the Republic of Kenya. He has a lot to offer. He has had an experience. I had an opportunity to serve together with him during the Grand Coalition after the Serena talks, 2007, 2008 to 2013. And if you remember, during that period of time, he was chairing the cabinet subcommittees in the entire committee, And if you remember, that's the time when Kenya achieved the growth rate of 8%, over 7%. And I believe we can do that again. And if you remember, that's the time when the infrastructure started. It may not have reached all the country, but I think it's when the infrastructure started during the reign of President Kibaki, and now which has been continued by President Uhuru Kenyatta. The fact that they have teamed together, they have joined together, they have had a handshake, the past is a bygones. We are in, this nation is, Kenya nation is in for a very productive period. And I'm relishing to be part of that development growth of this nation. Because the country is coming together, all the people are coming together. Now, how do we benefit? I believe it's closer to Nyanza, it's part of the Nyanza caucus. What it will be giving other regions will also be available to Nyanza, and I'm sure will also share both in the infrastructure development and in the various other levels that we intend to benefit from. And don't forget that the revenue that's accrued from the national government to the county government, the shareable revenue, the money available to the county government is not enough to be able to meet all the budgetary requirements for the county government. The shareable revenue now is about 370 billion Kenya shillings to 47 counties. We are trying to push it to 495 billion in this financial year. We're still in that debate. That money is not enough. Therefore, we also need money from the national government to come to the county government. And the Right Honorable Prime Minister, under the BBI bill, he was proposing that the money which should be sent to the county governments should be not less than 35% of the national budget. Currently, the national budget is about 3.2 trillion Kenya shillings. Now, the revenue collected by the Kenya government at the moment is upward 1.7 trillion Kenya shillings. If you were to get 35% of that revenue collected by the Kenyan government, leaving aside all that, it means 35% of that revenue, the county governments will be getting upward from 15 billion, from 500 billion to 600 billion Kenya shillings, which means in case of Kisii, considering the population dynamics, considering the geographical size and what have you, those parameters which have been laid out for shareable revenue, we should be getting, currently we're getting about 8 billion Kenya shillings. With conditional grants, we're about 11, 12 billion Kenya shillings. But with this 35% of the national budget, which was proposed in the BBI by the Right Honorable Prime Minister and the President Uhuru Kenyatta, if that's achieved, it means that the devolution will be the beneficiary of that element, which means the money available to county governments will be in excess, in case of Kisii, of 15 billion to 20 billion plus conditional return. With that kind of money, with a prudent manager at the county level, you can see what will happen. Even the things you're asking me about will be able to be factored in the budget, and you can achieve your targets that you have set for yourself. But if you don't know what you're going to do, you'll be in the forest.
Let me now take you to task again. The Deputy President, William Ruto, still has a formidable support base in Kisii. Are you sure you will defeat him in August this year? Or you'll beat Raila Odinga in Kisii and in Nyamira County?
Let me tell you something. What people need today is not rhetorics, it's not the wheelbarrow story, it's about the agenda, how they intend to benefit from the community, at the community level. Nowhere have I ever heard the Deputy President talk about devolution. And here I am telling you how revenue can be shared to the county governments through the devolution process. It's constitutional, and this is the manner which has been stipulated through the PFM Act, Public Finance Management Act, how money is shared between the national government and the county governments. So how are you going to get the county governments buoyant economically? How are you going to get the county governments if you are going to tell us that you are going to centralize your resource envelope by dishing out handouts to county governments, so much for employment, so much for mama mboga, so much for this, without institutionalizing the resource flow and the control on how those funds are going to be utilized? You will get, at the end, you may find that people will not get that money which is supposed to reach them if you leave out the institutional framework that has been set out by the Constitution. As for the influence in Kisii, I'll tell you for certain that we intend to educate our people, to tell them where they stand to benefit rather than where they stand to lose. And I think they will hear us if we tell them, give them the correct version of what we think it is. We give them the correct manifesto. We will explain to them. He has a right to share his agenda. We have a right to sell our agenda. I think our agenda is richer. We think our agenda is inclusive. We think our agenda is encompassing. We think our agenda is going to solve the problems of the common humanity that is down there at the growth. We think our agenda is going to be participatory by the ordinary people, the youth, the young people, the women, the elderly. We think our agenda is going to be expansive. And we think our agenda can serve not only the Kenyan community, but also the international community. We think our agenda has safeguards in preventing corruption. We think our agenda can be able to hold the test of time. And that's the way to go.
Thank you very much, Professor. Now we've got only 2 questions to go. Which role do you think the Kisii diaspora should play? Not only Kisii diaspora, but let's say Kenyan diaspora, whoever is willing to come and invest in Kisii or work in Kisii or do whatever. So which role do you, which role should they play in your government? Because majority of them have interests in Kisii County.
Let me assure the diaspora, one of my major policy will be the diaspora will be my partners in development. Any government, you've got to have partners in development. Without partners in development, it will not be easy to develop any products that you want to put out or you want to churn out for that county or for that nation or for that country for that matter. And therefore, I consider as one of my pillars of development as the diaspora community from wherever they are. What I must do as a governor is to be able to churn out the products that are sellable to the international community, which are sellable to the diaspora for investment and for creating opportunities for our youth, for our women, for our elderly to participate in that development so that we create wealth together. And therefore we'll be able to create bankable programs and projects that will stand the test of time. And that will be my business, and I'll have a caucus, and they will be represented. I intend to create a diaspora division and department in my government, which has a direct link with the diaspora, so that they know of the opportunities available, of investments, and the opportunities where they can participate in the activities, not only of the county, but also of the Kenya government and of the other counties. This will be my duty. Secondly, I expect the diaspora, because some of them have been able to work in the environment of advanced technology. The technology transfer will be one of the window of the opportunities, of the window of opportunity that will be available in my county for that transfer of technology to be effective.
because it is beneficial, mutually beneficial to both sides. For them to be able to earn by transferring that technology to the PC county or to the other counties as well, and also by being able to earn out of various technologies that they have been able to transfer to our counties. And thirdly, to be able to be involved in the investment. I talked of circles, the border circle. I want to mention the respectable circle. These are formidable financial vehicles through which we can be able to create financial markets. They can also create a financial bank where these systems can access resources for them to support these activities that are coming up in this sector. They can be involved in infrastructure development. They can be involved in the marketing strategy, for instance, for the value addition products that we'll be developing in the country. They'll be involved in the innovation centers, in the curious centers, in the world centers that I told you earlier on, so that they participate in those centers. And therefore, they have their hands full. All I need to do is to invite them to be my partners in development.
Our last question, and in conjunction with what we've actually said and what the diaspora is talking about, there's one gentleman from New Jersey called Mogaka Isaac. He's congratulating you, first of all, for at least winning his vote today. So you have a voter who has actually made a decision to join your group.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, and in that he's saying, when are you traveling to the US and Europe and have a round table discussion with them on how they can assist and be involved in your government? Some are planning to help you in campaign. Are you ready to incorporate them in your team? That is a question and a comment from Mr. Mogaka Isaac from New Jersey.
First of all, Mr. Isaac Mogaka and your group, I thank you immensely for offering your vote to me. And I fully welcome you with all open hands to come and join me in campaigning, in a peaceful campaign, in a civic educating campaign to the people of Kisii so that they can be able to get a leader who will be able to realize their dreams. And I invite you to join me in fundraising. I'm ready to come. If not possible, now technology has made it possible for us to do virtual meetings like this in a roundtable conference and be able to exchange ideas. That's the value of technology. That if I'm not able to travel because of the intense campaign programs on the ground, we can always use the leverage on technology to be able to achieve each other. And I invite you to be able to be my partners in fundraising, to support me in this endeavor. It's not my project, it's your project. It's everybody's project of anybody of goodwill who wants the county to grow in leaps and bounds, that they come and join me by donating either in kind or in material or in cash, in whatever form they want, so that we are able to get a very buoyant and a very vibrant community being involved in what we call realizable and tangible growth. It's my intention that it will be one of the most fastest growing county. It will be one of the highest GDP growing area in the county, in the country of Kenya, in the nation of Kenya. And the nation of Gusii land is ready to showcase their prowess, not only in development, and they have the resource that is the diaspora. We consider the diaspora a big resource for us. And we don't regret for our parents, for our families having invested in the diaspora, going to where they are now. They are able to plow back their knowledge, their expertise, their resources to grow the county. And don't be surprised, this county becoming the Singapore of Kenya.
Thank you very much, Professor. Before I give you a closing remark, let me also tell you this, that we'll be organizing a debate for all the candidates from Kisii. So we'll invite you so that you'll take part in that particular debate and you'll articulate your issues in front of your competitors. There'll be no hooliganism, there'll be no bad people. Definitely what we want to churn out is we want to do a proper civic education, and we are involved in that one heavily. So we'll invite you to that particular conference and debate. And the other thing is we also planning to ensure that our people back home get the information one-on-one. We'll engage them in civic education in every particular aspect of life. The other thing is we are also inviting all the other candidates from Kisii or from any part of Kenya to be part of this journey. And we've also extended our invitation to candidates like Honorable Simba Machogu. We are still waiting for their response, and if we got their supporters in this particular forum, please tell them they are welcome to KDR TV so that they can also sell their agenda to Kenyans, and specifically to Kisii County and Nyamira County. So Professor Sam Ongeri, what is your closing shot? Because we are done right now. So what is your closing shot?
First of all, let me say I'm willing, more than willing, to participate in that debate, because I think it will be beneficial to the community, the Kisii community, to know what their leaders are going to be. It will be part of the commitment to the community what they will be. And we will leave it the open judgment of the Kisii community, Kisii County, to judge us by the words we pronounce ourselves in the international televisions. And we remain accountable to those statements we made. And that's how the transparency and accountability is going to catch up with us if we said something that we are not to do. My closing remarks, in cutting it short, that I look forward to a peaceful, engaging debate and education of our people in the leadership of Kisii County. I expect that this will be a peaceful engagement. I expect that the elements of hooliganism will be part of the past. I expect that we will embrace comradeship, we will embrace brotherly love, and we will embrace intellectual debate, sanctioned debate that will help us to chart out how we intend to serve the Kisii community. I remain committed to what I'm able to do. When I say yes, I'll do certain things, A, B, C, D, it means yes. I've done it in the past, I'll do it again. I don't believe in propaganda, I believe in tangible results. I believe in progress. I believe in bringing up the youth to stand tall and earn their rightful position and be able to be economically viable so that they don't have to depend on handouts. I believe in rolling out health programs that is sustainable, that can stand the test of time. I believe in empowering the agricultural sector to be able to do their best and perform and be able to get the farmers earning their rightful share in any products that they intend. I believe in entrenching technology as a way forward of the future development of this county. I believe in creating a very sustainable infrastructure to help not only the farmers, but the transportation sector. I believe in creating access to markets within and without, so that the Kisii County does not stand as an island, but stands tall in ensuring that they participate not only in the national economy of Kenya, but also in the international community. I'm a believer of achievements, and I've done those achievements before, and I'll do it again. Thank you for your audience and for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much, Professor, for that wonderful interaction. We'll invite you, as we have actually promised that next time we'll invite you. But there's somebody here who has just sent in a question, a small question. I don't know. I have to ask your permission. Do you have time to answer for a few seconds, like 30 seconds?
That's why I'm there.
Thank you very much. Now he's asking, Professor, with all this enormous experience, the problem is the age. How are you going to manage to do all these things? Because and right now you need to be passing the baton to the younger generation. That is a question which has actually come to my desk right now. Go ahead, Professor.
Age is in the mind. You can be 20 and you be aged. I think you should judge me by what I'm able to say and deliver. The Constitution says the age of entering into politics is 18. The Constitution does not bar anybody, does not put an age limit when it should stand. Democracy is like America. The President of the United States of America is my age mate. The President of Malaysia is a professional colleague like me. It's Dr. Ongwae. He's 94. I'm not that age. I'm not there. In Israel, the elderly people who have run the economies very well, they're in the 80s. So I think age is in the mind. What is important is what are you able to intellectualize, be able to put on the table and perform. Are you of a sound mind? Yes, I think I am.
Yes, Professor.
I'm of a sound mind. What you need is a sound mind. What you need is a person who's experienced. What you need is a person who's not a guesser, or who's going to do it by chance. What you need is a person who's not just looking for a position, but who's looking for something to offer to the community. Payback time. This is the payback time for me, the community. Served nationally, served internationally, I believe it's payback time. And I think they're richer by having me there as their government.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you for that. Thank you for the discussion again, and thank you for answering that question. We'll definitely have you back next time. May God bless you. Till next time.
Thank you.